The most dangerous thing about a little knowledge is that it feels like a lot. For 19-year-old Liam, who had just returned from his first year at university, that little bit of knowledge had metastasized into a full-blown empire of wisdom. He held court in his family's comfortable suburban home with the swagger of a king surveying a quaint, backward province. His parents' life experience was now just a collection of charming but outdated anecdotes, and his conversations were peppered with half-learned philosophical concepts that he wielded like weapons. He was no longer just their son. He was a walking, talking textbook of youthful arrogance. The true heart of their home, however, beat not within its walls, but outside, in the magnificent garden. It was a lush oasis of vibrant life, tended to for over 20 years by one man, Mr. Garcia, an elderly man with a quiet, dignified smile and hands as gnarled as ancient oak roots. Mr. Garcia was more than just a gardener. He was a silent historian of their family. His hands knew the language of the soil, and he had been a witness to Liam's entire life, from his first wobbly steps on the lawn to the day he left for college, full of unearned confidence. His pride and joy, his masterpiece, were the prize-winning rose bushes that lined the patio, a testament to 2 decades of patient, loving cultivation. One bright Saturday afternoon, Liam invited a few of his new university friends over for a barbecue. The peaceful sanctuary of the garden was soon invaded by the thump of a bass line and the cacophony of boastful laughter. From the kitchen window, Liam's mother, Mrs. Davis, watched with a tolerant smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She was a woman whose quiet demeanor hid a will of iron, and she observed the scene with a mother's deep and weary wisdom, sensing the fragility of the afternoon's peace. In the corner of the yard, Mr. Garcia was patiently weeding the flower beds, a calm island in the chaotic sea of the boys' party. He tipped his hat respectfully as they ran past, their reckless energy a stark contrast to his deliberate, gentle movements. And then it happened. A powerful, misplaced kick sent a soccer ball arcing through the air, a black and white missile, on a collision course with the afternoon's fragile beauty. It landed with a sound that cut through the music and laughter, a sharp, brutal crack of stems and petals, directly in the center of Mr. Garcia's most prized rose bush. Several major stems, heavy with perfect, blood-red blooms, snapped and hung limply, like broken limbs. The game stopped. The boys looked over. Mr. Garcia rose slowly, his tools falling from his hands. His face, as he looked at the ruin of his masterpiece, seemed to age another 10 years. This wasn't just damage. It was a wound in the heart of his life's work. Liam saw the old man's expression, the profound and silent agony. In that moment, he had a choice, empathy or performance. He chose to perform. Annoyed at the interruption and needing to look cool and magnanimous in front of his friends, he sauntered over, a picture of casual power. "Whoops," Liam said with a laugh. He clapped his friend on the back. "Nice shot." Then he turned to Mr. Garcia. "Hey, relax, old man," he said, his voice loud and condescending. "They're just flowers. It's not a big deal. I'm sure my mom pays you enough to plant some new ones, right?" The cruelty of the comment, the casual dismissal of a man's passion and decades of work, hung in the air. Liam's friends chuckled awkwardly. Mr. Garcia didn't say a word. He simply knelt, his shoulders slumped, and touched one of the broken rose petals. The hurt in his eyes was deeper than any anger, but he was not the only one who had heard. Inside the house, Mrs. Davis's tolerant smile had vanished. She had seen the ball, seen the damage, and she had heard every single ugly word that had come out of her son's mouth. Her expression turned from weary to shocked, and then to a cold, crystalline anger. The son she had raised, using their family's comfort as a weapon to belittle a good, honorable man, it was an ugliness she would not tolerate in her home. She waited. She watched as Liam's friends eventually said their goodbyes, leaving Liam preening in the aftermath of his successful party. As the last car pulled away, Mrs. Davis stepped out onto the back patio. Liam turned, a self-satisfied grin on his face. "Hey, Mom, pretty good turnout, huh?" She didn't answer his question. Her face was calm, her eyes unblinking. The quiet authority that had guided him his entire life was now focused on him like a laser. "Liam," she said, her voice soft but carrying an unmistakable edge of steel. "We need to have a word. In the living room, now." The triumphant feeling drained out of Liam in an instant, replaced by a sudden, chilling dread. He had been so focused on acting like a man in front of his friends that he had forgotten about the woman who had taught him what a man was supposed to be. And he knew, as he followed her into the quiet house, that he had just made a very, very serious mistake. The living room was silent, a stark contrast to the loud, boisterous energy of the backyard just moments before. Liam stood awkwardly in the center of the room, the self-proclaimed king of the party now reduced to a nervous schoolboy waiting for his sentence. His mother, Mrs. Davis, didn't sit. She stood by the fireplace, her arms crossed, her calm demeanor more intimidating than any rage could ever be. "Explain to me what I just witnessed," she said, her voice quiet but leaving no room for excuses. "It was nothing, Mom," Liam stammered, trying to downplay the incident. "My friend just kicked a ball, and I told Mr. Garcia we'd take care of it. It was a joke." "A joke?" Her voice sharpened slightly. "You think belittling a man who has shown this family nothing but loyalty for 20 years is a joke? You think telling him his life's passion can be bought and replaced with my money is a joke?" "That wasn't a joke, Liam. That was cruelty. It was the ugliest form of arrogance, using your privileged position to make a good man feel small." She took a step closer, her eyes searching his. "I am looking at you, and I am struggling to recognize the kind boy I raised. Where did he go? Did you leave him behind at your fancy university?" Liam's face burned with shame. Hearing his actions described so bluntly left him with no defense. "No, Mom. I'm sorry. I was just trying to act cool in front of my friends. You chose to be cruel to impress boys who won't even remember your name in 5 years," she said, her disappointment palpable. "But Mr. Garcia will remember what you said today, and I will remember it. An apology is required, but it is not enough. An act of disrespect this profound requires a lesson in humility, a sharp, memorable one." She walked past him and into the hall, opening the coat closet. Liam heard a faint rattling sound. She returned holding a single, old, wooden coat hanger. It was thick and solid, from a time when things were built to last. It was an object of household order. "I have not had to correct you physically since you were a boy," she said, her voice laced with genuine sadness. "I truly believed I had raised a man who understood how to treat people with dignity. It seems I was mistaken. You need a reminder of what it feels like to be made to feel small and powerless. You will bend over the arm of that sofa, now." Liam stared at her, horrified. "Mom, you can't be serious. I'm 19, and Mr. Garcia is 74. She countered instantly, her voice like flint. "Dignity doesn't have an age limit, and neither does the consequence for stripping someone of theirs. Do not make me ask you again." Defeated and overwhelmed with a crushing sense of shame, Liam did as he was told. He walked to the sofa and leaned over the sturdy armrest, his heart pounding in his chest. His mother stepped behind him. She was not angry. She was resolute, a force of maternal justice. The first swat of the wooden hanger across the seat of his jeans was shockingly sharp and loud in the quiet room. Liam yelped, a raw, involuntary sound of surprise and pain. "That," his mother said, her voice steady, "is for the disrespect you showed to a good man." Whack. The second strike landed with firm, stinging emphasis. "That is for the arrogance you displayed in front of your friends." Whack. The third and final blow was the hardest, a powerful thud that made Liam cry out, tears of pain and humiliation finally breaking free. She placed the hanger on a nearby table. "You may stand." Liam straightened up slowly, his backside burning with a fiery, intense sting. He stood before his mother, weeping, his pride completely shattered. "Now," she said, her voice softening slightly, "your real lesson begins. Your apology comes first." She led him to the back door. Mr. Garcia was still there, sadly pruning the broken stems from his ruined rosebush. Liam walked out onto the lawn, the sting in his seat a constant, throbbing reminder of his shame. He stood before the old gardener. "Mr. Garcia," he began, his voice thick with tears. I am so sorry. What I said was horrible and disrespectful. There is no excuse. Please forgive me." The old man looked up at him, his eyes kind. He gave a small, sad nod. "We all make mistakes, young man. It is what we do after that matters." "Good." His mother's voice came from the doorway. "Because what you will do after is this. For the next 2 weeks, you are grounded. Your afternoons will be spent out here, in this garden, working under Mr. Garcia's direction. You will weed, you will mulch, you will learn to care for the things you so easily dismissed." You will learn what his work actually means. The next 2 weeks were the most humbling of Liam's life. He spent hours on his knees, in the dirt, pulling weeds until his hands were sore, learning how to properly mix soil, how to stake tomato plants, how to care for the delicate roses he had helped destroy. He and Mr. Garcia worked mostly in a comfortable silence, but slowly, the old man began to share his wisdom, not just about gardening, but about patience, dedication, and life. One afternoon, as they were finishing up, Liam looked at the garden, no longer with the eyes of an arrogant student, but with a newfound appreciation for the quiet, consistent effort it represented. He had learned that respect wasn't a theory from a book. It was a practical, hands-on action, shown in how you treated the people and the world around you. The sharp sting of the lesson had faded, but the humility it had planted in his heart had just begun to grow.